I went to the council on Thursday night. They had an extraordinary meeting. It's the second one in as many months. This extraordinary meeting was to agree to submit to the government this document, which is called the Joint Core Strategy. And I went to speak on behalf of SNUB, and I started off by saying that this is my parish plan, and this is your Joint Core Strategy, and the two are totally different visions of the future for us in this area. Ours took a long time, was done by the people in the parish, was subjected to quite extensive consultation, and actually, whilst I don't totally agree with it, I did get a chance to express my view. This one? No. There isn't even, when this was consulted on, it was done so poorly that there were only 356 respondents in the whole of the Greater Norwich development area. Our parish council, Rackheath Parish Council and Plumstead Parish Council, perhaps not understanding the consequences of this, did not respond. But the people down in Harleston and in Berghampton and various other councils in South Norfolk did. And as a consequence of that, we ended up with a document which was responded to in this way. This slide is actually far too busy for me to pick anything, for you to be able to pick anything out from it. So what I did was I extracted a number of those factors and I put them onto this slide here. And I'd just like to work through them with you. Do you agree with the spatial strategy in this document? 61 said yes and 66 said no. Do you agree with the strategy of growth? Can you see it at the back? Because if you can, I won't even read it through. But you can see the answer there was no. The answer was no about the locations for major change. That's us. No again. When it came to the technical consultation, which of course is like people who have got a regulatory or a statutory duty to respond to these consultations, the situation was that only 6 of them responded positively, 14 against. And I haven't seen the comments, but a lot of those comments that were made would not have been favourable. Housing delivery. More people said no than yes. The Broads and access and transport, the NDR and all the other things that are going with it, were also responded to in a way which said, this is not right. There isn't even a majority in favour of it. So they took it away and they changed it. No, they didn't. They took it away and reprinted it and said, this is the version that we're going to put forward. There only ever was one plan. It just had 3 different versions of it. And the one plan always included all of this development in the northeast of Norwich. So if we were ever consulted, which I don't think we were never given a chance to make sure that what people wanted was either known about or was paid attention to. And that is what David Hastings was talking about. It's what we are trying to make you aware of and to see if we can't do something in order to redress some of these problems. So I'm going to try and put a few more meat on these bones now. And on this next slide, we've seen this piece before, no development without infrastructure. Who went to Rackheath last September, October? Did the council chairman, did he not stand up and say to us that no infrastructure, no development? Yes. Even if this NDR gets built, and I have to tell you that it's less likely than you think, it won't be built until 2015. When are you going to start building the houses? No. the end of this year. Is that right? What if it doesn't happen? The houses will be built, and that will be a lie. If the community is against it, it won't go ahead. David made a point before about the communities being against it. Coltishall were definitely against the idea of being an eco-town in Coltishall. And when he said he didn't know how he came to be Rackheath instead, I will tell you how he came to be Rackheath instead. The government was so determined to do this that the Department for Communities and Local Government wrote a comparative plan which showed why Rackheath was better than Coltishall. The government did it. Not us, not the council, and they handed it down. And the council have just gone ahead and done what they wanted. This is a Conservative council we're talking about. And finally, the community will be kept informed all along. The only reason we're here, and the only reason we set ourselves up, was because we didn't think we would. We knew what was going on. I certainly didn't. I only found out about this when I made some inquiries about this document. It's like a holiday brochure. It's got all the glossy pictures in the front, and when you go to the back pages, it's got the price list in there. The price list, £1.2 billion. So, if we move now to what it actually is all about, perhaps what you really wanted to see. Here we've got Google. Let me tell you something else. This is just out of interest. We have tried to get maps from Broadland District Council, and when we ask for them, what they do is they say, you cannot reproduce these for anybody else, because we have got a license from the Ordnance Survey, and we're the only ones that can do it. So what we have done to get round that is to go to Google Earth. Because in America, and the things that control Google, the mapping in the United States is free to all citizens. You don't have to pay for it. You don't buy Ordnance Survey maps over there. Anyway, so I had to make this up for you. And this picture here, you can see it shows Norwich, the road out to the north. You can clearly see, I hope, at the back, the airport at the top there. The growth triangle going out in that direction, as we'll see in a moment when we first of all look at Norwich city centre. Now Norwich city centre is shown on this particular diagram. It's from Sainsbury's in Thorpe out to Asda in Helston, and from mile across in the north down to County Hall in the south. You and I would say that's most of Norwich, really, because the fringe parishes completely surrounded. Let's have a look at the growth triangle. The growth triangle is actually bigger. Than the centre of Norwich. They didn't tell you that, did they? You look at this joint core strategy and find a map, and any map you find in there won't show any indication of comparing these things, because they didn't want you to know how much land they were taking. And I've just added a few little things to this map. First of all, you can see the area of the eco-town, which is up at the top there. And remember, because I wasn't allowed to use maps, I've had to do most of this cartography myself, and some of it isn't exactly right. This is Plumstead Road. This is Salhouse Road. Okay, so it's the part of the map that we're really interested in here. The NDR comes up from Poswick, goes across the top of the railway line and Plumstead Road. As a consequence of that, it has to have a slip road which goes down onto Plumstead Road with another roundabout. So it's going over the top of the road at about 18 or 20 feet high. And you can't see this, but I'll tell you before I finish where you can find this information on the internet. They are proposing to screen it by building a bund 1/2 metre high. Okay? Down here, this traffic going around this roundabout, they're going to put some fencing up and some planting around it to stop the car's headlights from sweeping the whole of the area. It comes down onto the road at Salhouse Road, about 80 metres, or yards to you and me, up from the Soul and Heel pub, which is where you can see Green Lane West and Broad Lane, which incidentally, the developer wants to close.